Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope you all are fine. You know that in our previous lesson we were discussing about basic skills, and now we have to discuss chapter number 2, landforms. So my dear, for your kind information, these both lessons have been prepared from Geography Today 1, written by Doreen Crawford. So I'm a geography teacher. So let's recall the previous lesson. We discussed in our previous lesson the basic skills. Basic skills mean the skills, the techniques, the methods which are being used by geographers and other different peoples who study geography to understand geographic phenomena, geographic processes, and human earth relation. So here we discussed that the basic skills includes maps, components of maps. So components of maps are title, the north sign, key, symbol, and the scale. While we also discussed that there are 4 types of maps: political maps, physical maps, distribution maps, and route maps. So these are the 4 types of maps. After this, we discussed about graphs, photographs, pictures, and fieldwork. So now, by the grace of Allah Almighty, we people are going to study about landforms. So my dear, let's start. Okay, Allah in the name of the most beneficent, the most merciful. So learning objectives. So by the end of the lesson, the students would be able to define different terms which are related to topography, describe the landforms of South Asia, draw and label the landforms of Pakistan, explain the drawing of different landscapes on different maps, discuss different landforms, identify the formation of landforms in Pakistan, and they would be able to differentiate between different physical features of the landforms like plain, valleys, plateaus, mountains, etc. Okay, so here is the introduction of this chapter. In this chapter, we people are going to discuss landforms. So landforms are the landscapes of Pakistan and South Asia, different layers of earth movement, volcanic eruption, causes of earthquake, rock types, weathering, and erosion. So these are the topics that we have to cover in this chapter. So let's start now the first topic, that is topography. So my dear, topography means the shape of the earth's surface. When we shall describe the shape of earth's surface of any area, then we are actually describing or explaining about the surface of that particular area, which is known as topography, or which is known as surface. Okay, so I was saying that when we shall describe the surface of earth, or when we shall describe the different features which exist on earth, then we are actually describing the topography or the landforms. So the landforms or the topography includes mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts, valleys, glaciers, oceans, rivers, lakes, forests, etc. So the landforms may be flat, uneven, rugged, high above the sea level or below the. So here you can see figure number 2.1, which is showing different types of landforms in the form of cross section. So these are the cross section, my dear, as we have discussed in chapter number 1, that cross section is a diagram which shows the internal structure. So these are the cross section of different landforms. Here the most important thing is that different types of landforms make up the different types of the topography in different regions. So the word topography has been derived from two Greek words. Topos means place and graphene means to write. So topography, relief, landforms and landscapes have almost same meanings. Here in this slide you can see here are 4 words. In the last line, please: topography, relief, landforms and landscapes. These have almost same meanings. For these mean mountains, plains, plateaus, rivers, valleys, glaciers, deserts, etc. Now here we have to discuss that how do we show the landscapes on a map. You all know that in our first lesson we were discussing that map is a 2D representation of 3D features which exist on the ground in the form of natural and man-made features. So in other words, we can say that map is actually a view of Earth or its different parts. So we can say that now how to represent different physical and human features on a map. So we use different colors and different symbols, as we have discussed in chapter number 1, that we use a line, a red line for international boundary. We use a dot for a city. We use different other signs and symbols. So we use different colors also. So we use brown and purple color for mountains, blue color for water bodies, green color for vegetation, black lines for roads, railway tracks, etc. So we use different types of colors and symbols on map to represent different man-made and physical. Okay, here you can see, here is figure number 2.2 and 2.3. So these are the cross section of the landscapes. Now you can see in these diagrams or in these figures that the top of the map has been shown with purple color, while the rest of the area is brown color. Then you can see some zigzag lines. These are indicating small streams or water channels. So this is the method that how to show different features on a map. Here you can see figure number 2.4, which is also showing some symbols and colors. So now I hope you can understand that we use different colors to represent different landforms. For example, in figure number 2.5, you can see the landforms of South Asia. So here is the key of the map. So with the help of the key, we can interpret or we can explain this map. So here you can see different colors which has been representing different landforms of South Asia. Okay, here So these are what are the landforms in South Asia, as we have discussed in our previous slide. So the landforms in South Asia are plains, rivers, mountains, and plateaus. So my dear, these four words are keywords. If you want to write about the landforms in South Asia, you have to keep these four key terms or keywords in your mind, and then you will be able to write about the landforms in South Asia. So here you can see that the plains of river Indus and river Ganges, Brahmaputra and Iravati. Then the mountains of Hindu Kush, Karakoram and Himalayas. Balochistan Plateau in Pakistan and Deccan Plateau in India. So these are these rivers, plains, mountains and plateaus. These are the landforms in South Asia, as you have seen in the previous. Okay, now here you can see figure number 2.6, which is showing a plain and mountains. Then in second diagram, figure number 2.7, a plateau in Turkey. So this is a plateau. Okay, now here we have the definition of these important terms. So these are mountain, valley, plateau and plain. So these are the definition of these terms. So mountain is a large natural elevation of Earth's surface, rising abruptly from the surrounding level, a large steep hill, that is known as mountain. So valley is a low-lying area of land between two mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. Then a plateau. So a plateau is an area of fairly flat land that is high above the sea level, and a plain is an area of flat or fairly flat that is not very high above the sea level. So here is a difference between plateau and plain. The difference is plateau is fairly flat, while on the other hand plain is flat or fairly flat, and plateau is high above the sea level, and while plain is not very high above the sea level. Okay, next slide. Here you can see the most important slide of this lesson. So, and this is the topography of our beloved country, Pakistan. You all know that Pakistan has different types of the landforms: plains, plateaus, deserts, valleys, glaciers. And now you can see that in the north of Pakistan we have our highlands or the mountains. These mountain ranges which are in the north are Karakoram and Himalayas, while Hindu Kush mountain range exists in west and north of Pakistan. Then you can see some other mountain ranges in the western side. These are Sufadko, Salt Range, Toba Kakar Range and Central Brohi Range. Here you also can see the plateaus. The first one is Potawar Plateau. So Potawar Plateau, then comes Balochistan Plateau. After this you can see Punjab Plains and Sindh Plains. These are the plain areas. So Punjab Plains and Sindh Plains are also known as Indus Plains, because these plains are formed due to depositional activities of river Indus and its tributaries. So as you can see the different these zigzag lines, blue lines, these zigzag lines are actually the rivers, river Indus and its tributaries, as you can see in the key of the map on the right side. Here is the key. Then below the key here is a linear scale, and then the different colors which are also the part of the key, which are showing the elevation or which are telling us about that how these land areas, the highlands, plains, plateaus are high above the sea level. Okay, now I was talking about that Indus River and its tributaries has deposited alluvial soils, and these soils formed plains which are known as Punjab plains and Sindh plain. These are also known as Upper Indus plains and Lower Indus plain respectively. Okay, so in the south of Pakistan you can see Mikran coast, Arabian Sea. Okay, so this is the topography of Pakistan. Now for your kind information, my dear, here in Pakistan, here are 3 deserts. Haran Desert is in Balochistan, Thar Desert is in Punjab, and Thar and Cholistan Desert is in Sindh and Punjab. So these are the 3 deserts in Pakistan. So here you can also can see the salt range. Most of you are aware from it, and because the Kyoda salt mines exist in this range, where we people are extracting rock salt. Now you have to do some written task on some loose sheets or in rough registers as a practice. So before going to the next slide, here I'm going to recall all the lessons that we have done. So my dear, today we have to discuss that topography. Topography means the landform, the shape of the earth. So the 4 different words: landscapes, topography, landforms, and relief have almost the same meanings. Then we discussed the definitions of plain, plateau, valley, and mountain. And then we also discussed about the landforms of South Asia and Pakistan. So these were some topics that we have discussed today. Here I have some interesting and so attractive pictures of the different landforms you can see here. So now I hope you will listen this lesson carefully, and then you will understand the lesson and you will go. So now at the end of the lesson, best of luck. So please go through your notebook and prepare those pages that I have discussed with you, and then do some written work which is related to the work that we have discussed today in this online lesson. So now I hope you will do your best. So best of luck again.